Marilyn. You okay?
Yeah.
Okay. When you go ahead and call the village board meeting for the village of Schaumburg to order on Tuesday, March 23rd, 2021. First item on the agenda is, well, actually, let me mention, is anyone who has a electronic device, cell phone, tablet, whatever the case may be, please ask that you silence those so as not to disturb the public. Oh, yes, that's right. I'm sorry. Yes, we have 2 public hearings, and what did I do with that? Here we go. Okay.
Take the roll.
Yes, so we're going to take, let me get through this properly. Okay, this one first, right? Yes, okay. So
The thin
this,
one.
pardon me?
The thin one.
Yeah. So this is, the first item we have actually is a public hearing. It's for the establishment of Nitty Schaumburg Development Dormant Special Service Area. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Vishke.
Present.
Trustee Madej.
Present.
Trustee Dunham.
Present.
Trustee Sullivan.
Present.
Trustee Conley.
Present.
Trustee Kozak.
Here.
President Daly.
Present. All present and accounted for. The only item on this agenda will be for, we have an explanation of what the SSA is, the Special Service Area District is for the Nitty Schaumburg Development, and I will turn this over to the village attorney to explain.
So as the board knows, a dormant special service area is there as a protective measure for the board in case a homeowners association of a development either dissolves or fails.
You want to move up a little bit then? We can
Or
wait for you.
Move
fails.
the microphone.
I'm pretty close, or fails to do its duty. In this case, the publication for this SSA, there was a minor problem in the legal description, so we're actually not holding the public hearing on this matter tonight. It's going to be held at a date in the near future. It is unrelated to the substantive approvals of the Nitty development, which will be unaffected by delaying the approval of this dormant special service area. So you can look for that on an agenda in the near future. And that's all we have on that, Mayor.
Okay, so just to make sure everybody's clear on what this is, any questions, comments? Okay, it is not being actually addressed tonight.
What's not being addressed? I missed it back there.
A dormant special service area for the Nitty residential housing development that was approved a couple meetings ago, several meetings ago.
What is that the project they're going to build over there? Is that the,
Yeah, it's called, you're going to have to explain a special service area for him.
on Wise and Summit there?
So
Is that what you're talking about?
only the dormant special service area component of that development,
What
which
is that? You want to translate
He's
that?
trying to explain it to you,
Yeah.
sir.
Oh,
a dormant special service area is a way for the village to create an area that may need to be served in the future for the common areas of a housing development. Usually those are taken care of by the homeowners association, and in fact the village code requires the creation of such an association. But with a dormant special service area, although the village will not levy any property taxes on it, if the common areas are ever not maintained, or any areas that deal with water detention or so forth are not maintained as they're required to be by village code, the village will have the authority to levy property taxes on the residents of the development in order to take care of those areas.
Okay, does that help you?
no.
No.
Yeah, but
All right, well, let me try it.
Where are those
Let me,
areas? I'm not familiar
let me
with
try
that.
and put it to you a little bit more in a layman terms here.
Any of these areas.
So
Is there an example
when
of something?
when the development gets developed, they're going to have a homeowners association, all right? If that thing were to fail, then what? All right? So what the village does is the village puts in basically, I'm going to call it an underline, that's referred to as a dormant, basically an HOA in effect. So we're going to put that in so that if the homeowners association fails, ours steps in, and we are now allowed then to take over, and we can enforce any rules that need to be done, such as the maintaining of the wetlands, the cutting of the grass, anything else that the homeowners association normally would have done If they fail, we can then come in as a village and overtake that. Otherwise, the homeowners association fails, they walk away from it, and you end up having everything going out of control. So by implementing something such as this, we don't use it. It's dormant, it sits quiet, and it's never used, or should hopefully never used, but it allows us to do that. So does that help you understand a little
I
better?
wasn't aware that Schaumburg had homeowners associations. I thought that's usually in unincorporated areas, you know, but not in the village
No.
of Schaumburg.
Yes, so,
Homeowners association in the village of Schaumburg?
yes, pretty much every single townhouse development will have a homeowners association.
We're talking about townhouses only.
Right, but they will have one here because they have common areas such as the open park area, the wetlands, et cetera, and all that, that will need maintained, that those homeowners will have to pay into to maintain that every year. Okay?
All right.
Is
So
that,
we-
Yeah,
that,
okay.
okay. All right, good. Want to make sure that was kind of clear. Thank you.
So it's not going forward today, Mayor,
Yeah,
and we'll
right.
bring it forward at a future time with a different notice with the corrected description.
Okay, so the end result was there was an error within the wording of it, and so we're going to basically end up not having a meeting this evening on this, and it will be deferred until, my guess is probably next meeting, but we'll see. All right, any other questions or comments? Okay, I look for, what do we need then? A motion to
You
defer?
can adjourn it, you can
Yeah.
adjourn it even though we're not.
Motion to
So-
defer.
Second.
A motion and a second to defer. Is it a defer or an adjourn?
To adjourn, because we're not deferring, we're republishing, it'll be a
Oh,
new,
okay.
yeah.
So,
We did the
Take the
second.
roll.
Okay, Kozak first adjourn. Who seconded?
Brian.
Brian, okay.
okay. All right, will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Madey.
Aye.
Trustee Bishke.
Aye.
Trustee Dunham.
Aye.
Trustee Sullivan.
Aye.
Trustee Conley.
Aye.
Trustee Kozak.
Aye.
6 ayes, no nays, motion carries. That is adjourned. And then we have a second one.
Okay, wait a minute.
Yes, I will.
Okay,
You tell me when you're ready.
all right.
So I will call the public hearing to order for Tuesday, March
No,
20.
no, wait.
Sorry. Got to meet the proper rules here.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so I will call the public hearing for Tuesday, March 23rd, 2021 to order. Well, we'll call the roll, do the roll call first.
Trustee Bishke.
Present.
Trustee Madey.
Present.
Trustee Dunham.
Present.
Trustee Sullivan.
Present.
Trustee Conley.
Present.
Trustee Kozak.
Here.
President Daley.
Present. All present and accounted for. And under new business, do you want me to mention this one, or you? Okay. Okay, so this is relative to being, well, it's a public hearing regarding the proposed Experior Tax Increment Financing District, typically referred to as a TIF. This is for an overview of the proposed TIF district and the eligible report, redevelopment project and plan, TIF plan in relation to village staff and Lance Dorn. Oh, okay. Okay, sorry, I didn't know you wanted me to read this part of it. So the public hearing tonight is in regards to the village's proposal to establish a tax increment financing district to be known as the Experior TIF Increment Financing District. In accordance with the Tax Increment Allocation Redevelopment Act, the village has taken the following actions on the following dates in regards to the establishment of this TIF. You want me to read through all these too? Okay, thank you. Action. Number one was approved by motion the preparation of the eligibility report and TIF plan on August 25th, 2020. Number two was adopted a reimbursement resolution number R20-068 on August 25th, 2020. We published a TIF interested party registry notice in the newspaper, the Daily Herald, on September 8th, 2020. Announced the availability of the eligibility report and a TIF plan at a village board meeting January 12th, 2021. And approved ordinance number 21-009, calling for a joint review board meeting and a public hearing relative to the proposed approval of the redevelopment project area and the TIF plan in relation thereto on January 26, 2021. Mailed a copy of the ordinance number 21-009, the eligibility report, the TIF plan, and the 3 draft ordinances relative to the establishment of the TIF district, along with the notice of the joint review board meeting and the public hearing to do the following: to all taxing districts by certified mail, return receipt requested, and to the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity by certified mail, return receipt requested on February 2nd, 2021. Also, mailed notice relative to the availability of the eligibility report and TIF plan to all residential addresses within 755 feet of the boundaries of the redevelopment project area by first-class U.S. mail, and to all parties who were registered on the village's TIF Interested Parties Registry on February 3rd, 2021. Held the Joint Review Board meeting on February 19th, 2021. Established notice of this public hearing in a newspaper twice in the Daily Herald on March 3rd, 2021 and March 10th, 2021. Mailed notice of the public hearing to each taxpayer of record within the redevelopment project area by certified mail, return request, receipt requested, and to each person on the village's TIF Interested Parties Registry by first-class U.S. mail, and this was also on March 10th, 2021. Pursuant to the Tax Increment Allocation Redevelopment Act, the village must wait at least 14 days from the close of the public hearing before introducing or taking action on the ordinances establishing the Superior Tax Increment Financing District. Said ordinances are available for adoption at the April 27, 2021 Village Board meeting.
So Matt's going to give an
Okay.
overview of the TIF district and the redevelopment plan for the public hearing and for the board's information.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to pull up a brief slide presentation that will have our consultant, SB Friedman, walk us through. Just give me a minute to... Yeah, thank you, Mayor, for reading that. Obviously, we've been through a process of trying to establish a TIF district. This is to help facilitate the development of the former Mers and Anderson farm properties at Rodenberg and Irving Park Road. These properties were acquired by the village back in the early 2000s. We have been out to bid. We have a proposed development that is going through the Army Corps of Engineers right now. This TIF is to help facilitate development of the property. So with that, I'm going to turn over to Lance Dorn from SB Friedman. This is the TIF consultant that the village is engaged with, who did the eligibility and redevelopment plan. So Lance.
Great, thank you, Matt, and thank you all for having us here tonight. As Matt mentioned, my name is Lance Dorn. I'm with SB Friedman. We are a real estate and economic development consulting firm based in Chicago. My colleagues Jeff Dickinson and Will Holland are also on Zoom tonight. So we were asked to present the factors that qualify the area for designation as a TIF district. The proposed district consists of 3 parcels and approximately 57.6 acres, including the adjacent right-of-way. It's located roughly to the south and west of the Irving Park and Rodenberg Road intersection, and it meets the definition of vacant land under the Illinois TIF Act. There are 2 paths outlined in the Illinois TIF Act to designate vacant land as a blighted area. These are called the 1- and 2-factor tests, and each test has different requirements outlined in the TIF Act. To meet the 1-factor test, at least 1 of 6 possible factors that are outlined on the left must be present to a meaningful extent and reasonably distributed. To meet the 2-factor test, at least 2 of 6 possible factors, which are outlined on the right, must be present to a meaningful extent and reasonably distributed. Ultimately, can you go back to the last slide? Ultimately, we determined that the area qualifies for TIF designation under both tests. For the 1-factor test, A third-party engineer determined that the area is subject to or runoff contributes to chronic flooding in the watershed. And for the two-factor test, we found that obsolete platting and lack of growth in equalized assessed value are present to a meaningful extent and reasonably distributed. Meeting both tests is a conservative approach to designation for the TIF Act, or the TIF Act only requires that you meet one of those two paths. So we wanted to dig in a little bit further. Manhard Consulting determined that all parcels within the proposed area contribute to flooding in the watershed. The parcels collect stormwater from adjacent areas and parcels, and the stormwater is discharged to the south into the west branch of the DuPage River, where it was found to contribute to flooding. Therefore, the proposed area meets the one-factor test. Moving on to the two-factor test, we found that the area was challenged by obsolete platting. 2 of 3 parcels are of irregular size and shape that make contemporary development difficult. The parcel on the northwest corner is limited or narrow in size, and the parcel on the south portion of the area was created without right-of-ways for streets, alleys, or easements for public utilities, which would make development on the southern and western portions of that parcel difficult. Both situations make the parcels difficult to develop on a planned basis and in a manner compatible with contemporary standards and requirements. All of the parcels meet the definition of lack of growth and equalized assessed value, with the value growing at a rate less than the growth of the balance of the village for 3 of the last 5 year-to-year periods, and less than the consumer price index growth rate for 4 of the last 5 year-to-year periods. Therefore, the combination of the two factors, the proposed area meets the two-factor test. There are additional required tests that are outlined in the TIF Act. The first is that the area has experienced a lack of growth in private investment. That is evident by the lack of growth in equalized assessed value and the fact that all of the parcels have remained vacant for many years. We also found that the area meets the but-for test. Without designation of the area as a TIF district, it's likely that the area would not be able to support development due to the stormwater flooding and infrastructure investment that are required to make the site developable. Each of the parcels are contiguous, and the future land use, which is industrial and or commercial, conforms with the village's 2018 comprehensive plan. So in conclusion, we determined that the area meets the definition of a blighted area under the Illinois TIF Act. And with that, I'll turn it back over to Matt.
Yeah, so that's the staff and consultant report, and so I think Trustee Dunham will move on with the Joint Review Board.
Yep. Matt, we had a TIF meeting some time ago, or let's see, on February the 19th. There were 8 members present and voting on the Joint Review Board, and recommendation was that the village board move forward with establishing the proposed TIF district. There were virtually no questions, no comments, or anything. So that pretty much concludes my report.
Okay. Thank you, Trustee Dunham. So I just want to point out, or just to make note, that this is solely for the purpose of establishing the TIF district and the requirements of having to hold a public hearing for it. So at this time, I'm going to open it up to any comments from the public. We'll start with those in the audience here physically present, and then we'll go to anyone on the Zoom meeting. So first of all, anyone here in the audience? This gentleman here?
Sort of stupid, but what does TIF
No.
mean?
Okay. Why don't we get your name for the record, please? Why don't you come on up to the mic and...
My name is Klaus, K-L-A-U-S.
Sir, you need to go
Yeah.
up to the microphone here so everybody can hear you.
Yeah, it's hard to hear with the masks.
And if you can sign in too, that would help. The clerk.
Okay. My name is Klaus Gruss, K-L-A-U-S, Klaus.
Okay,
Bruce.
thank you. Okay, and your question was, what is a TIF?
TIF, I have no idea.
Right.
Sorry.
So if I can, I'm going to ask Matt Frank to go ahead and give you an explanation. It stands for tax increment financing, but Matt Frank here is our Director of Economic Development, and he will give you a little broader explanation than just the name.
Sure. So TIF is a tool used to assist development and remedy blighted situations. So the report that Lance went through, some of those blighting factors, this is a common economic development tool, not only in the state of Illinois, but throughout the country, that basically freezes property taxes, and any new development that comes on, that additional increment, or what we call increment, but additional taxes, will be used to help pay for the necessary infrastructure improvements, environmental remediation, or other eligible TIF costs. So it's a tool to assist with development in a short, concise way.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments from the audience? Okay, we're going to move on to, yes, then please step forward and for the record, give us your name and address.
Mandy Hegestead, 107 Long
Yeah,
Avenue.
can
can't hear
you
that.
sign in, please?
Yeah, and please state your name again. Couldn't hear through the mic.
Mandy Hegestead.
Okay.
Just curious how their incentives will affect our taxes. And the letter, I'm sorry, I think that was from Matt, right? Was that from you, maybe?
Could have been.
It's in
No,
Spanish.
either way, okay.
So
Probably
it-
came
it
from the
mentions
village,
that,
yes.
So I'm curious how that affects us.
Well, again, we'll let, I think Matt tried to explain it. Why don't you step up here, Matt? and-
Sure.
Should I sit down?
Yeah. So this will not impact your property taxes. So the TIF only affects those 3 parcels that we talked about in the presentation. Those property taxes will be frozen, and any new development, any increment there will go back to helping pay for that. So there will be no property tax increase on your properties or any of the surrounding properties. So this is specific to those 3 parcels for the development.
But this is going to affect our property values, and it's going to affect our, I mean, if we're paying the same taxes for reduced
I understand. I got it. I
value.
got it.
Yeah, I'll need you to state the question here so the clerk can get it,
Right.
and then you can comment.
I just said that it will affect us because it's going to drastically reduce our property values, and if it's going to stay the same, that's, I mean, it will
Well-
affect us.
Okay, so the purpose of this meeting, public hearing, is solely for the establishment of the TIF, not actually to discuss the development itself, which is what you're indicating will impact your values. So that's not what we're here. We're here to talk about the.
Well, I think this mentioned that in the letter, that's why I'm saying it mentioned the TIF in here,
Okay.
in our letter that was sent to us.
Right, and again, it's for the establishment of this TIF for this property, not to go, we're not here to talk about the actual development and all of that. Okay, does that make sense?
I guess so. I just
Okay.
feel that it's going to affect us. Okay.
Okay, we, thank you for your comment. All right, anyone else in the audience? Okay, we're going to move to those individuals on the Zoom that may wish to speak. You need to take these one at a time. So just unmute. All right, so if you can unmute, hopefully we'll be able to get through these one at a time. And we'll need you to state your name and address for the record, and then you can proceed to give us your comment. Okay, seeing none, we will move on.
No, I'm sorry, there is one. I had my hand raised, but no one called on us. We're Scott and Jenny Mills, 1530 Winfield Way, Roselle. Our neighborhood is going to be on the opposite side of this development, and so it's going to back right up to your neighbors in Roselle. And I want to know why you're giving a tax incentive to a project that people don't want there. The surrounding neighbors don't want it there. It's going to cause issues to not only your Schaumburg residents, but also your Roselle residents. And you're providing this tax incentive, which is supposed to be a beneficial thing, to something that is going to be a detriment to the people of your community who live nearby and the people of your neighboring community who live nearby.
Okay, and again, I think we've had discussions about this property, and there will be further discussions about the property, but for this evening, we're only here to talk about it from the establishment of the TIF. and
Well, it is
take
about
public comment.
the TIF. The
Yeah.
TIF, you're providing this TIF, you're providing this tax incentive to this development. This is all about the TIF. You're providing a TIF to a company, to a project that is going to be a detriment to the community and to surrounding neighbors. So this is about the TIF. The TIF is a negative thing. The TIF should not be approved. It should not be given to this project because the project is going to cause problems for your residents who live nearby. It's going to cause problems for your neighboring communities who are not taken into any account in the development of this project. So this TIF that you're granting, this wonderful tax incentive you're going to give to them, is a problem. It's a detriment to the community.
Well, and we certainly understand your opinion on that, and it's been recorded for the record. Anything further? Anyone else? Okay, we're going to move on.
Move to adjourn.
No,
Her name again.
There's
Yeah.
a chat, somebody in chat.
Clerk needs her name again.
Jenny Mills.
Okay.
Yeah. Any questions or comments from the board?
So just for the record, I want to make sure that I note that Ms. Hagestead also sent an email to me about 6:30 this evening.
Okay.
That basically presented the same question that she asked here at the hearing this evening. And then in the chat, Ms. Mills also posted the same question that she presented, or same comments that she presented during her verbal remarks this evening as well.
Okay. Any other comments from the board? We look for a motion then to close and adjourn the public hearing.
Yes, I move to adjourn.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Bishke.
Aye.
Trustee Madej.
Aye.
Trustee Dunham.
Aye.
Trustee Sullivan.
Aye.
Trustee Conley.
Aye.
Trustee Kozak.
Aye.
6 ayes, no nays, motion carries. The public hearing for the TIF is now closed. Tell me when you're ready.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, you ready?
Yep.
Okay, so now we are going to convene the village board meeting for Tuesday, March 23rd, 2021. First item on the agenda is a roll call. I'll ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Trustee Bishke.
Present.
Trustee Madej.
Present.
Trustee Dunham.
Present.
Trustee Sullivan.
Present.
Trustee Conley.
Present.
Trustee Kozak.
Here.
President Daly.
Present. All present and accounted for. I would like to ask Trustee Brian Bishke to lead us in a Pledge of Allegiance.
Please rise and join me in the pledge.
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Trustee Bishke. Next item is the approval of minutes. We have minutes from March 9th, 2021. Look for motion to approve.
Motion to approve is presented.
Second.
Motion and a second. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Bishke.
Aye.
Trustee Madej.
Aye.
Trustee Dunham.
Aye.
Trustee Sullivan.
Aye.
Trustee Conley.
Aye.
Trustee Kozak.
Aye.
6 ayes, no nays, motion carries. Next item is motion to approve the minutes from March 9th, 2021. It's executive session.
So moved. Second.
Motion and a second to approve. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Bishke.
Aye.
Trustee Madej.
Aye.
Trustee Dunham.
Aye.
Trustee Sullivan.
Aye.
Trustee Conley.
Aye.
Trustee Kozak.
Aye.
Thank you. Next item is the approval of expenditures for the amount of $5,246,433.78.
Move to approve the expenditures as presented.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the expenditures as presented. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Bishke.
Aye.
Trustee Madej.
Aye.
Trustee Dunham.
Aye.
Trustee Sullivan.
Aye.
Trustee Conley.
Aye.
Trustee Kozak.
Aye.
6 ayes, no nays, motion carries. Now we interrupt for a little fun stuff. Of course, 20 years. So we have the village manager, a presentation to the village manager for 20 years with the village of Schaumburg, which is, I'll bet you just don't know where the time flew, right? I'm sure, like we all do in our own jobs, it does tend to fly by, and I have to say, I appreciate all you've done for the village, Brian, over the years, going back to starting even as an intern. So it's way back. So the plaque we have for Brian says, "To Brian A. Townsend, Village Manager, in recognition of your 20 years of dedicated service to the Village of Schaumburg, and grateful appreciation from the Village President, Village Board, Village Clerk, and staff of the Village of Schaumburg." So can I actually give you a congratulations here?
Absolutely.
Okay. Oh, we're going to get a picture. Okay. Could have held that up, right? Okay. Here, one more. Take one more. Take one more, as long as we're at it. Let's do it the right way here.
All right.
Here we go. Okay, there you are. Okay. Ryan?
Great, thank you very much.
Okay. And there's a little something that goes with that here. I'm going to give you the box, plastic, all of that. So,
Prettier.
thank you, Brian.
Thank you very much.
I would dispute
Okay.
that, but congratulations, buddy.
All right, next item is liquor license requests. We have none for this evening. Consent agenda. The consent agenda will be read in its entirety and voted on as one motion to approve. If you wish to discuss an item further, please indicate that when the item is read by the village clerk so that it can be removed from the consent agenda and discussed further under committee reports. Otherwise, all items will be approved as presented on the consent agenda in one motion to approve. Will the clerk please call or read the consent agenda? Thank you.
Number 1, correspondence. The motion would be to ratify the request from Friends of Schaumburg to hold a raffle on March 19th, 2021 at Chandler's Chop House, Schaumburg Golf Club, 401 North Roselle Road, and to waive the fidelity bond requirement. 2, proclamations. A, proclamation declaring April 8th, 2021 as George Longmire Day in the Village of Schaumburg. B, Certified Government Financial Manager Month, March 2021. C, Arbor Day, April 30th, 2021. D, SHIC Awareness and Appreciation Month, April 20th, 21. 3, Engineering and Public Works Committee. A, the motion would be to waive competitive bidding, award the contract for the Wind Trust Field Suite Level Carpet Replacement to Diversity of Itasca, Illinois, as part of the Interlocal Purchasing Competitive TIPS, and approve issuance of a purchase order in the amount of $62,622. 4, Finance, Legal, Administrative, and General Government. The motion would be to approve the Finance Department monthly report for February 2021. B, the motion would be to recommend the village board adopt an ordinance modifying the closing hours for liquor establishments. C, the motion would be to approve the 2021 business plan for the Renaissance Schaumburg Hotel and Convention Center. D, the motion would be to approve a resolution authorizing the village manager to execute an agreement with Jones Lang LaSalle of Atlanta, Georgia for asset management services through December 31st, 2024. B, the motion would be to adopt an ordinance authorizing a reservation of the village's tax-exempt private activity bonding authority to Town of Normal for the Assist Homeownership Program. E or F, the motion would be to approve a resolution authorizing a Class 6B tax incentive for 815 Lunt Avenue, LLC at 815 Lunt Avenue. G, the motion would be to approve the monthly budget status report for March 2021. 5, Committee of the Whole. The motion would be to direct staff to implement option 1 to allow for clear cutting of trees and mass grading for the Nitty Development School District 211 property. B, the motion would be to accept the results of the Gulf Road Corridor Study and direct staff to draft the overlay district regulation to include standalone restaurants as permitted uses, drive-through restrictions, entertainment uses, and corner key intersection restrictions for review by the Zoning Board of Appeals. 6, Private Safety Committee. The motion would be to award the police department uniform contract to J&G Uniforms of Chicago, Illinois, and issue a purchase order in an amount not to exceed the approved budget 2021 budget. B, the motion would be to adopt an ordinance amending Title VII, Chapter 77 of the Schaumburg Village Code regarding vehicle seizure and impoundment. 8,
Madam Secretary, I'd like to, Clerk, I'd like to be shown as a no vote on that.
thank you. 7, Planning, Building, and Development Committee. A, the motion would be to adopt an ordinance amending Municipal Code Chapter 129 relative to valet parking regulations to reflect current terms and practices. 8, Zoning Board of Appeals. The motion would be to approve an amendment to existing special use for an array antenna for T-Mobile, 401 North Roselle Road, Schaumburg Golf Club. 7, award of bid. The motion would be to award the bid for the 2021 Street Improvement Program, contract number 2, to the lowest responsible bidder, Arrow Road Construction Company of Mont Prospect, Illinois, and authorizes issuance of a purchase order in the amount of $4,672,838.93. 10, resolutions. The motion would be to adopt as Resolution R21-016, authorizing village manager to execute an agreement between the Village of Schaumburg and Jones Lang LaSalle Americas, Inc. for asset management services. B, the motion would be to adopt as Resolution R21-017, approving and authorizing a 6B classification for 815 Lunt Avenue in Schaumburg, Illinois, 815 Lunt Avenue, LLC. 11, ordinances. The motion would be to waive first reading and adopt as ordinance number 21-033, granting an amendment to existing special use for an array antenna for T-Mobile, 401 North Roselle Road, Schaumburg Golf Club. B, the motion would be to waive first reading and adopt as ordinance number 21-034, amending Title VII, Chapter 71, Section 71.19 of the Schaumburg Village Code relative to vehicle seizure and impoundment.
And I would like to be shown as a no vote on that.
C, ordinance number 21-035, an ordinance the motion would be to waive first reading and adopt as ordinance number 21-035, amending Title 11, Chapter 129 of the Schaumburg Village Code relative to valet parking regulations. D, the motion would be to waive first reading and adopt as ordinance number 21-036, amending Title 11, Chapter 112 of the Schaumburg Village Code relative to permitted hours for sale of alcohol. D, the motion would be to waive first reading and adopt as ordinance number 21-037, approving the transfer of volume cap in corrections with private activity bond issues and related matters. F, the motion would be to waive first reading and adopt as ordinance number 21-038, authorizing adoption and publication of the official updated zoning map of the Village of Schaumburg. G, the motion would be to waive first reading and adopt as ordinance number 21-039, amending ordinance number 17-036 pertaining to internet auto sale uses to correct a scrivener's error by amending the Village Code, Title 15, Chapter 154, Sections 154.187C6, MP Plan Manufacturing District, Special Uses, and 154.188C7, MI Manufacturing District, Special Uses, Z, Special Uses. Okay, this concludes the assent agenda. Thank goodness.
Thank you deeply. I'm glad you're reading that, not me. So, very long one tonight. Thank you very much. I do appreciate that. Okay, so I'm looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda as has been read. with item B under public safety regarding vehicle seizure and impound, and under ordinances, item B regarding the same issue with trustee Conley voting no.
So moved. Second.
Motion and a second to approve with the exception. Any further discussion from the board? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Bishke.
Aye.
Trustee Madej.
Aye.
Trustee Dunham.
Aye.
Trustee Sullivan.
Aye.
Trustee Conley.
Aye.
Trustee Cadet.
Aye.
Zach.
6 ayes, only the 1 nay on the one item. Thank you. Committee reports. No committee reports listed before us. We're going to go to comments from the audience. So we'll take anyone here first. And I know we have someone from the school board here. Anna, please step forward. How are you this evening?
Good, thank you.
Okay, is it still raining?
It was when I came in.
Okay.
Well, I thank you very much, and I am not here as a school board representative. I am here as an employee over at SHARE, which is inpatient detox and rehab for individuals dealing with substance abuse. One of the concerns, and I've also taken over, I work part-time there, and I've started doing the gambling counseling. And that's opened up a whole new world, a lot that I did not understand before. I am an LPC, so I do understand the counseling. March is Problem Gambling Awareness Month, and I did hand out some information in regards to it. And I just wanted to make you aware, because the concern I have is last month you approved 5 gambling cafes. And gambling is the invisible disease. If someone is drunk, if someone is high, you can see it. But the gamblers, you can't tell who's gambling until they've lost everything. They've lost a house, they've lost their pension. Sometimes it reaches a point where they've lost their life. So I think this is really important, and that's why I'm addressing you this evening. And just to bring about a little awareness, excuse me. There's 5 million Americans that meet the criteria for compulsive gambling, and the effects is on the individual and on their families. So when a person is a gambler, his feelings and actions are different depending on whether he's winning, losing, or there's some other dilemma. The winning phase, there's a perception of that winning streak. The losing phase, they continue to gamble after losing because they think they're going to get the money back. And the desperation phase, that's when they start taking irrational risks in the hope to begin to get that big win and be able to cover all of their debt. I think it's really important for you also to keep in mind that the sports betting is taking a toll on our young people. I've had a call this month from 3 moms who are really concerned about their college students and the sports betting and the betting they've been involved in. Some of the kids started betting at age 14, so it is taking a hold on our youth. What I'm asking of you this evening is to just be aware of it, and I don't know what the ordinance is on these cafes, but I'm asking you to please make certain that the cafes have something available that has the Gambler 1-800 number, maybe has some information about gambling, what to look for. And also, the management of that gambling cafe should be aware of their clients. They need to keep an eye on them. If somebody's coming there every day and they're losing, they need to keep in touch with that person and maybe direct that person to an awareness that maybe there's some issues going on. So I thank you for your time. Please read through the literature. If there's more information that you could use, please let me know and I'd be very happy to send it to you. Thank you for your time.
Well, thank you very much for presenting this to us. Certainly addiction, whether it's gambling or something else, is a terrible thing for someone to go through, and this board is very cognizant of that. One of the things we did was when we passed the ordinance allowing for gambling in the village is to establish that a 50% of the what do you call them, the machines the permitting that they need to do for the machines, and what was the other one?
It's 50% of the license fee
Licensing
revenue.
fees, sorry. So that goes into a fund in which can fund these types of places, so that recognizing that this can be a problem, not just for young people, but for everyone, and those funds are set aside to go to that. So this will certainly be one that we'll look to see if we can't, once those revenues start coming in, if we can't be putting some of that money into one of these places, so.
And I think that's important, but sometimes that's too late, because
Yes.
somebody's lost all their money and they've taken their life. So just please be cognizant of
Yes.
that. And I know someone had mentioned about a sixth one. Let's see how these 5 are doing, before you expand it, please. So thank you
Okay.
very much.
Oh, thank you. Any other comments from the board? No. Okay. Anyone else from the audience here before we move up to the Zoom? Yes, please come forward.
Hi, how are you?
Okay. Just give us your name and address for the record.
Jennifer Scarpelli, 680 Mall Drive in Schaumburg. I am here on behalf of Daniel Cusis. I am the general manager of Mizet. This is regarding the permitted hours for the sale of alcohol. We are just respectfully requesting a 60-day continuance on this, given the fact that it kind of took us by surprise, and we would just like to gather as a community and discuss how this is going to affect us moving forward as a community. And, giving it 60 days of thought, I think maybe just to see how it would impact us might be a benefit to the community.
Okay. So we have already passed it when we went through the consent agenda, so it has passed. However, certainly we can hold on discussion. I know I spoke with someone today
Yes, Daniel
regarding...
Cusis is unfortunately, he
Yeah.
just had surgery on Wednesday. He's unable to attend this evening, so he had sent me in place to discuss this, and given this is my first board meeting here in Schaumburg, I'm usually,
Sure.
I come from Naperville, actually, so
Okay.
Given that fact, I do apologize. I didn't want to interrupt you,
Oh,
but
okay.
I would like to go ahead and take 60 days, if possible,
All right. Well, as liquor commissioner, I would assume I can hold on it?
that would be lovely.
Well, it's been passed. You could give a grace period.
That would be
Okay.
great.
So we can do that.
Thank you.
I would like to hear back, though.
Sure.
Certainly at some point during this time period.
Okay.
Again, the discussion was moving the closing time from 3 a.m. to 2 a.m.
Correct.
And that's all that was discussed at this point. It fits in more in tune with what other communities are doing, and the general feeling that of reducing the amount of time for alcohol sales at locations. So I know, I spoke to someone today about it.
Sure.
And so, but yeah, we can consider that.
And if you are setting an effective date, I would do it as setting an effective date. It should be done for all affected licensees, and it should be made, public, so.
Okay. Do I need to do that now, or?
No.
No.
No,
All right.
but you can set an effective date.
Okay.
The time has been changed.
Yes.
The board has voted on it.
Okay.
But if you want to give an effective date for that change to take effect, you can set a reasonable effective date.
Okay. All right, so we can, all right, that's what we'll do. We'll look at
Thank
the
you.
60 days out.
Thank you
okay?
so much, Tom. I do
Okay.
appreciate it.
Sure.
Could you sign my sheet?
I did not, but I will.
Please.
All right, is there anyone else here in the audience? Bobby, when she steps away? Yes, by all means. Okay.
I'm Bobby Sloan, 736 Fennel Court. Can I take this off?
You can.
Sure.
Huh? Oh,
Yeah,
good.
we're far enough away. We're
That's
more than 6
much
feet.
easier. Okay. I'm here regarding the Nitty property that my home abuts to it, and I know what's going to happen. I understand. I am concerned, however, for the extra animals that are going to find their way to my property. And what is the village, if anything, going to do about it? If I end up with whatever, if you take it all down at once, and I understand the thinking because it has to do with money, but what about the property owners with the increased animals?
Okay, and you're concerned because they're going to come on your property, or?
Well, I gotta go somewhere, so I'm thinking they're gonna come, it's just across the field.
Okay. Well, it's normally up to each property owner to deal, if you're talking about wildlife, to deal with each wildlife that happens there. I would think if you have active use of the outside, they're not going to settle there. I mean, they're going to be looking for places where people aren't outside or some other vacant property of some sort, but, okay.
There's a lot of animals over there.
Okay.
Just wanted to be on record, that's all.
Okay, anyone else from the audience? No, all right, we will turn this open to individuals on the Zoom. Again, like the last time, if you have something to comment on that's a matter pertinent towards the village of Schaumburg, please unmute yourself and proceed.
Hello?
Yes.
Hi,
Tina, this is Tina, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Please proceed.
My name is Tina Angelov, and I live on 743 High Point Court, which is right across the field from the new development. And I have a similar concern to Bobby's, but I am also very concerned about noise and pollution, because once this field is all cleared out, the dust will carry over everywhere. And I do understand that this is a common thing with construction zones, but again, myself and all my neighbors were under the impression that it would be done in 2 phases to reduce the noise and the pollution. And of course, it was a big concern about the animals that live there. So I'm very much hoping that NIDI would still do it in 2 phases.
Okay, so we held a committee meeting and a hearing to discuss that subject in particular about a week ago. And during that discussion, the issue was whether or not to continue with the plan to do it in 2 phases, which based upon, in effect, the layout of the land, the grading of it, et cetera, would require some construction traffic, heavy construction traffic, to use Summit. That was not part of the original plan. It was pretty emphatic that everyone wanted to keep heavy construction traffic off of Summit. So in order to for them to proceed with the 2-phase, they would need to make adjustments to the plan and use Summit for heavy construction. The alternative was to go to a single phase and allow the grading to take place in 1 season versus 2, in effect 2 summers, and allow that to take place at one time. And by doing so, you'll contain the noise and anything else basically to this year alone, and allow that grading to take place. It will also keep the construction traffic, the heavy construction traffic, we're not talking about pickup trucks, but heavy construction traffic will remain coming off of Plum Grove Road. So in effect, one of those worst of 2 evils, we sided with them and agreeing to go to a 1-phase construction. So yes, there'll be a little bit more noise and everything else, but all that heavy construction noise will be done in the 1 year versus having to stretch it out over multiple years. That was what was agreed to at that point and recommended to this board.
Would they leave at least maybe a very small vegetation barrier? Because I know that they agreed for a fence, but it would be only 5 feet high, which isn't much, especially knowing that there's going to be a lot of dust just because this land needs to be developed.
Yes, so there is some landscape, or trees that will be left in place on the south side of the property, on the east side, and on the north side. I don't, have it right here, can't show it to you in front of me, but there will be some of that will be left. And I think.
They also.
But not a barrier, you are talking single trees here and there.
I'm not sure the exact trees. I mean, certainly staff could go over that. It's all been posted up to the website showing the type of grading. If you're backing up to it, you're aware there is some very uneven land there. It causes flooding and everything else. So the best way in order to put the road in and cause the least amount of long-term issues was to grade this all at once and, in effect, also help out in that regard. So bear with me just 1 second. So Trustee Dunham?
I have a question for Matt, since Julie's not here. There is a dust control measure that's going to be in place on this, is there not? Do you know?
It's part of the land development permit.
Yes.
Yeah, there are specifics within construction guidelines as part of our land development permit with watering and minimizing impact to neighbors. So yes, there will be opportunities there too.
And did they not also say, Nitty, that there was going to be some seeding done to hold the topsoil in place as opposed to, becoming dust and blowing everywhere?
Correct, yeah. So we'll have building and engineering inspectors there on site to monitor conditions to help minimize any noise and pollution with the neighbors.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right. May I just have one more concern about this being done only one phase? My last concern is the constantly rising price of building materials. Currently, it is at about 200% with the lumber only, and everything else is getting more and more expensive. So this makes me believe that the cost of the end product will be much higher than anticipated. And therefore, it will be much harder to sell those houses in the neighborhood. And I know that Needy Development had a plan to build 30 or 40 houses each year, and after they sell them, they could build the next batch of houses. So is there any plan that could kind of ensure that those houses would be sold or they would remain at a reasonable price? So actually people could buy them within a reasonable time frame. So we're not stuck in a construction zone for the next 15 years.
I can't answer that. That it would be something that Nitty, through their suppliers, would answer that question. I do understand that the price of wood has gone up, but that's strictly a question for Nitty, not for us.
Tom, if I may again.
Sure.
This development has generated an extreme amount of interest with Nitty, to the point where they are considering holding a lottery for people who who wish to buy the homes. And it doesn't, from that and from some other things, at least that I've read, I don't think they're going to have a lot of trouble getting those houses sold.
Okay.
The houses were supposed to be priced between $500,000 and $800,000 and $800,000, and with the current prices of building materials, they would start at least $750,000 and go up into $1 million or even more.
Again,
okay, I understand. I was just
yeah.
asking if the village has anything, just in case things don't work out so well with the development.
No, we don't have anything specific there, but again, I think it's in Nitty's best interest to price these at an appropriate amount, so I'm sure they're going to work with their suppliers to get the right amount of wood at the right price. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anyone else?
Hey, this is Craig Cohen. Can I
Yes, by all means. Give us your name and your address for the record, please.
Sure. My name's Craig Cohen, and I'm at 727 Crystal Court South, Schaumburg, Illinois, 60193. So, you might have covered this, but just wanted to ask, when are you planning to put the path in? At what phase? And that's the path that I'm talking that's going to go from Plum Grove to Summit. Is that going to happen this summer, or is
No, I'm sure it's not going to happen this summer. I don't have a specific, I don't think we do. We have a specific time frame for that path? It's got to be at least 2 or 3 years off.
Richard or Ryan might have an answer.
Ah, okay, thank you.
I didn't hear that, I'm sorry.
Yeah, hang on one second. We have someone on staff on Zoom who hopefully be able to answer that. Please proceed, Richard.
Hi. Right now, we're not sure when construction will be, but we're pursuing the easement agreement with Kinder Morgan, who controls their property. We're anticipating the agreement would go before committee by summer, and I think Nitty's eager to start construction, but we don't have a specific date at this point when they might be able to. But we do need the agreement before we can even consider starting.
Okay, so I think the indication is it's certainly not going to be this year, maybe next year, might be the year after.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, sure. Any other questions, comments? Okay, I've got someone here in the audience, so please, again, come forward. And
Yeah, I didn't know we were talking about the property. I sort of missed that because that's what I'm here for.
Sure.
I had two concerns because I talked to somebody, Lady Julie, I think she was in charge of the development of plans. So she gave me a whole map of the houses being put there, and don't worry about a thing. Traffic's coming in from Plum Grove, and we do it all in sections, and everything is going to be, really planned out. I mean, this is a multi-million-dollar project, and this construction company here, they don't even know, and all of a sudden they change their mind. Oh, we got to come in from Summit now and not from Plum Grove. I mean, don't they look at that before those decisions are put down on paper, and and now they're upsetting everything? And that was all supposed to be done in sections, and not the whole mess at one time. I don't understand that. This is not like a little thing where you change the color of a car. I change my mind, it's going to be blue instead of red. Now they're coming along and they want to come in from Summit. I live right on Summit. I can see that thing right there all the time. And to them, what do they care if they mess up Summit and come from over there? Why don't they come in from Plum Grove? Bring all the traffic in from Plum Grove, the construction companies or whatever the trucks are coming in. They had everything laid out there. All the houses were drawn in. Everything was fine. And I'd also like to know, I mean...
Well, let me answer your first one, all right?
Yes.
So the first one is, no, they're coming in off of Plum Grove Road,
Yeah, but you said that the
Summit.
construction, everything is coming in from Summit.
No, I said it will all come off of Plum Grove Road. Heavy construction will come off of Plum Grove Road, not Summit. Summit, you're going to have probably some pickup trucks or something like that, but there will be no heavy construction off of Summit.
Oh, see, I misunderstood. I thought you said the heavy equipment is coming off
So
Summit.
typically, in a development of this nature, we normally allow the developer to completely grade the entire property to develop. That's how a developer develops.
That's not
In
what
this
it was
case,
told
the
originally.
village requested them to do it in 2 phases to try and minimize the impact.
Yes.
Well, it turns out, after getting onto the property, I don't know about you, but I went to try and walk that property at one point, and it's impossible. The
I know, but
overgrowth on that.
I'm sure the company who was going to build it, they must have had people out there walking and checking.
Right, so trying to get onto that property to see it, so they've gone through, they've realized the grading is an issue, and in order to be able to do what we asked them to do, to bring the heavy construction equipment off of Plum Grove Road, they really need to grade this property at one time. So that was why they came back to us asking for, saying, look, we'd like to do what you want, but it's almost impossible to do that. So that's why it was granted that way.
So all the cement trucks and the building trucks are all going to come in from Plum Grove?
That's correct.
All right. And one more thing, I mean, we're going to be affected by it for years, Is there any kind of something that the people that live by that development there be compensated for, or anything like that? Or you guys getting $17.5 million for that land, and we're just sitting there and watching all this happen for a couple of years and nothing. How many of you guys live there where you can see that development going on? I bet you none of you.
Can I ask you how long you've lived in the village?
Yeah, 2.5 years.
Okay, so you've had 2.5 years of vacant property behind you.
Right?
Untouched.
I thought, unfortunately, I wasn't smart enough to ask. I thought they were forest reserve,
Okay, so let me, well, let me tell you, this property was basically is owned or was owned by the high school. They had set this aside for a high school.
Yeah, I read that too, right.
Right,
Yeah.
okay, so they decided they no longer needed it, and in turn have sold it. So instead of having a high school with a tremendous amount of traffic and probably be 3 stories, it's now being developed as single-family residential, which is, I think, a tremendous benefit
Well, I
to the
appreciate
community.
that, right. I mean, I knew the original plan was for
Yeah,
townhomes and all that
but
too.
regarding compensation, there is no form of
I mean,
compensation.
like a little tax lowering or
Yeah.
something like that. I'm sure houses are gonna, if you want to sell a house, they're gonna go down in value. Who wants to buy a house next to a big construction project for years, you know?
Well,
you know, I mean, we don't got
think there
nothing
will
there,
be,
you know?
I think there will be some, just as there are some that don't mind backing up to major roads, so, I don't know what else
So
to
in the
tell you.
meantime, we just, we can eat the dust and while somebody else reaps the benefits, you know?
Well, again, we're trying to minimize some of that, dust and construction noise, et cetera, and all that
And how
for
about the,
you.
later on, once these homes are built, all the tax money coming in, are we gonna see anything of that maybe? No, probably not, right?
Well, you'd have to talk to all the taxing bodies. Keep
Yeah,
in
right,
mind, the
well-
Village of Schaumburg only, it taxes you at 6% of your tax bill is the Village of Schaumburg, so.
Well, I don't know what the divisions are, but I know that around 10,000, that's plenty, I don't care what
Okay,
the
so
percentage is,
6%
you
of
know?
that would be the Village of Schaumburg. If you're
Oh.
paying 10,000, look at your tax bill, the Village of Schaumburg is 6%.
Well, whatever it is, I'm still 10,000, I don't care who gets it, you know?
Well,
But,
yes, but
it's not us.
George,
if you're,
George,
may I,
please.
please?
No, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, but I mean, like I said, it would have been appreciative if some
Yes.
the people that live around there would have gotten even a one-time bonus or
Understood.
something to make them feel a little happier, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, but I'm glad to
Okay.
hear that the trucks do come in from Plum Grove.
Right.
That's a good thing.
Okay.
But,
All right,
and
anything
like,
else?
And like the lady said too, we talked about the animals too. Are they
Yes.
going to be all killed? Are they going to be killed? Or?
I trust them to be pretty smart to find their
I
new
hope
homes.
so. Yeah, I don't think so.
Yes.
But anyway,
Okay.
that was that the common person has something to talk about. Them things, you know. They,
Okay.
You know. All right, but
All right.
anyway.
Thank you.
That's what I wanted to talk about. You know.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you very much. All right. At this point, seeing that's all, we're going to move on to council report.
Okay, well, I'm hoping this is winding down, but I would again ask for the motion from the village board to extend the local state of emergency that's been declared by Mayor Daley, to extend it, was originally made on March 20th, 2020, until the adjournment of the next meeting of the Village of Schaumburg Board of Trustees.
So moved. Second.
A motion and a second to continue the proclamation, extend the proclamation. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Bishke?
Aye.
Trustee Madey?
Aye.
Trustee Dunham?
Aye.
Trustee Sullivan?
Aye.
Trustee Conley?
Aye.
Trustee Kozak?
Aye.
6 ayes, no nays, motion carries. President's report, I actually have a few items for tonight. So I'm going to start with this lady, Elaine Sarita, maybe? At any rate, she is thanking the village. She lives in Castle Rock Townhomes on the west side, west of Barrington Road, and she was thanking the village for the great job they did on replacing a water main, apparently that had issues, and while she didn't specifically identify him as Public Works, I'm sure that's who it was, but they kept everybody informed and did a great job and cleaned up very nicely, so thank you very much. You all had an opportunity to see the convention center in operation with the vaccine event that we had going on, and I want to thank Jewel for putting that on in conjunction with Renaissance staff, Village of Schaumburg staff. I mean, there was all sorts of people out there. I know if I tried to get everybody, I wouldn't get them all, but I know village manager helped arrange this and get this going, and I believe there was 61 or 6,200 people actually got the first vaccination and will be back for their second. So this was a great event, and it ran real smooth and received nothing but compliments from everybody. So thank you very much. I'll skip that one. For those that are unaware, I was going to do this differently but didn't get the chance. Tom Robertson, you remember Tom Robertson? He was the first general manager for the Renaissance and did a great job. He helped us kind of get it all straightened out some 20 years ago, and he is now retiring. So I will make sure you each get information on him so that you can send him a note. But he has got, I forget how many years, bear with me a quick second, and let's see, in here of years with, oh, I don't know where it is, but at any rate, he, all these years with the Marriott, don't see it right offhand. But at any rate, let's just say a long, long time with the Marriott, and did a great job for us, so thank you very much. And I did send him a note on behalf of the board saying thank you. Trickster. I had the opportunity to attend a function at the Trickster, and it was an exciting day. It was having to do with D-Day and documenting about the warriors that were involved, the Native Americans that were involved in D-Day, in particular Charles Shay, S-H-A-Y, 95 years old, and he had been one of those that hit the beaches on D-Day, and he received a special award of merit called a special mention from the Accolade Global Film Competition about his life and everything about him in that day. So very nice. It was a very good environment, so I liked going there, and it was very nice. So thank you. That's all I have. Manager's report.
I have no report this evening. I'd just like to say thank you for the recognition of my 20 years of service to the Village of Schaumburg. In 1993, when I started here as an intern, I could only dream to be village manager and be able to contribute not only to the quality of life here in the community, but also the economic opportunity that's been presented. So I thank you very much for the recognition, and I hope to be here for many more years.
And we hope so too, so thank you. New business. Unfinished business. Trustee comments and mentions. All right, look for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
So a motion, a second to adjourn. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Bishke?
Aye.
Trustee Madej?
Aye.
Trustee Dunham?
Aye.
Trustee Sullivan?
Aye.
Trustee Conley?
Aye.
Trustee Kozak?
Aye.
6 ayes, no nays. Motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you.